Yes, we can start, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees assembled here. So welcome to all Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Today is a very, very auspicious day of disappearance day of Srila Viswanath Chakra Thakur. On this auspicious day, we have His Grace Amarendra Prabhu glorifying Srila Viswanath Chakra Thakur. So we'll play his recorded class. Hare Krishna. One second.
Instruction as one's life and soul.
So the devotee is able to hear and see.
Welcome to this series
Yes, no? I'll go ahead then.
on the stories of Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. In this video, we would see how Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur inspired Srila Prabhupada to start ISKCON. Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur is one of the forefront prominent acharyas in our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya line and is very celebrated as a leading commentator to different scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, etc. In fact, in the life of Srila Prabhupada, the role of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur is very significant. Srila Prabhupada was instructed by his spiritual master, Paramaradhyatama Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to take this message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the English language to the Western world. But when Srila Prabhupada was a householder, he was confident of this instruction, but he was still not sure how he would do it. He had full faith in the mercy of his spiritual master and total faith in the chanting of the holy names. But how he would be a humble instrument was still a question. So when he was preparing for this journey, reading all the scriptures of the acharyas, he came across a verse of the Bhagavad Gita, Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahu shakhayanantascha budhayo vyavasayina. This is Bhagavad Gita 241, second chapter, 41 text. So while reading the commentary of Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur said in that purport that being resolute in purpose means to accept one's spiritual master's desire and instruction as one's life and soul. When Srila Prabhupada read that, he felt Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur is actually telling me and inspiring me and motivating and encouraging me to take the instruction of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur to preach this message of Lord Chaitanya world over and go on fearlessly. And after reading that, the confidence that Srila Prabhupada had was boosted. So then Srila Prabhupada came to the US. He landed at the Commonwealth Pier in Boston in September of 1965, and the rest is history. So by the desire of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, by the inspiration of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, and the perspiration of Srila Prabhupada, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness was found, and we are all proud members of this organization. Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur appeared in Radha Desh, the district of Radha Desh, in the village of Nadia as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in the vicinity, the area was called as Devagram. As a child, when he was born, there was so much of aura, his face was glowing. And why won't it glow? He was an eternal associate of Shri Radha and Krishna, Nitya Siddha Parikar, coming from Goloka Vrindavan. He was sent down, Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale. He was sent down by Sri Krishna and by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to assist in the preaching mission. He was born to a very stalwart scholar and Vaishnav devotee by the name Narayan Chakravarthy. And Narayan Chakravarthy had three sons, Rambhadra Chakravarthy, Raghunath Chakravarthy, and the youngest was Viswanath Chakravarthy. Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, as a child, was such a scholar, completely detached from all material enjoyment. Even when his friends played, as normal child would, or normal children would do, Viswanath Chakravarthy was completely renounced. He spent all his time hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from his elder brothers, Rambhadra and Raghunath. He chanted the holy names, and even as a child had strong sadhana. He chanted the holy names of Sri Krishna thousands and thousands of times, even in his infant ages. And this was astonishing for people to look at him, how much taste he had for the chanting of the holy names. He was a Shrutidhar, meaning he who could grasp, retain, and could reproduce anything that he heard even once. He had become a Sanskrit scholar right from birth and could recite any verse from the scripture back and forth. In fact, as a child, there's a story also of his scholarly nature. There was a big Vijay Pandit, somebody who had conquered all the directions in Vyakaran and Nyaya, or logic. And he came to Devagram, and Vishwanath challenged him. Just like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu challenged Keshav Kashmiri, the Digvijay Pandit, in Gauranga Mahaprabhu's Leelas, similarly, Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur as a child challenged this Digvijay Pandit and was badly, this stalwart Digvijay Pandit was badly defeated. He was so dejected because he could crush any big scholar, any stalwart who had studied the scriptures for years, and here he was crushed completely by a child. When he was sitting so dejected and he was praying to Mother Saraswati, the eldest son, or the eldest son of Narayan Chakravarthy and the eldest brother of Vishwanath Chakravarthy, Rambhadra Chakravarthy, came to Digvijay Pandit and he said, "Don't worry, Vishwanath is an eternal associate of Krishna and he is therefore a great scholar. Don't mind being defeated by him. This is obvious. Anyone who challenges him will be defeated, so don't mind." Seeing the preaching activity of Narottam Das Thakur and Ramchandra Kaviraj, and seeing the transformation of Ram Krishna and Hari Ram, there was a very noble personality by the name Ganga Narayan Chakravarthy. Ganga Narayan Chakravarthy saw the transformation of two shepherds into two exalted preaching Vaishnavas, and naturally thought, if these two disciples are so wonderful, how great would the spiritual masters be? And he prayed in the core of his heart, may the spiritual masters approach me in my life and let me take diksha or initiation from them. Fulfilling the desire of his heart, one time Srila Narottam Das Thakur approached Ganga Narayan Chakravarthy and initiated him. Ganga Narayan Chakravarthy was married to a very beautiful woman by the name Vishnu Priya, and they had a daughter by the name Krishna Priya. Later we would find how Krishna Priya met Vishwanath Chakravarthy in Radha Kund. So in this way, the sampradaya or parampara continued as follows. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu initiated Lokanath Goswami, who was one of the initial Vaishnav, Gaudiya Vaishnav Acharya sent to Vrindavan along with Bhugarbha Goswami. Lokanath Goswami initiated Narottam Das Thakur, being pleased by his submissive, humble mood. Narottam Das Thakur initiated Ganga Narayan Chakravarthy, fulfilling the desire of his heart. Ganga Narayan Chakravarthy initiated Krishna Charan Chakravarthy. Krishna Charan Chakravarthy initiated Radharaman Chakravarthy, and Radharaman Chakravarthy initiated Vishwanath Chakravarthy. We previously described how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy took Siksha from Sri Krishna Charan Chakravarthy and Diksha from Radharaman Chakravarthy. So in this way, Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur had the good fortune of studying Srimad Bhagavatam from three great personalities. Sri Krishna Charan Chakravarthy, his elder brother Rambhadra Chakravarthy and Raghunath Chakravarthy, and of course his Diksha Guru Radharaman Chakravarthy. He read the Srimad Bhagavatam intensely and approached Rambhadra Chakravarthy, and Rambhadra Chakravarthy asked him, "So what is the conclusion?" And Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur wasn't very sure. So Rambhadra Chakravarthy instructed Viswanath Chakravarthy to read the Srimad Bhagavatam, all the 12 cantos, the 14,000 plus verses again. And at the end of that reading, Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur ran to his eldest brother Rambhadra Chakravarthy and requested him, "Can I kindly go to Vrindavan? Sri Vrindavan Dham is the eternal abode of Sri Radha and Krishna. It is the pleasure pastime place, the transcendental spiritual abode of this divine couple. May I go to Vrindavan and serve this holy land of Vrindavan." Hearing this sincere, heartfelt desire of Viswanath Chakravarthy, Rambhadra Chakravarthy had a big smile and told Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, "You have understood the conclusion of the Srimad Bhagavatam." So in this way, Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur read the Srimad Bhagavatam and got the right conclusion to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Narottam Das Thakur and Ramchandra Kaviraj were exalted preachers. So one time there were two shepherds, as small children. They were tending all their goat and sheep by the name Hari Ram and Ram Krishna. And Narottam Das Thakur preached to Ram Krishna and Ramchandra Kaviraj preached to Hari Ram. And both these children, although shepherds, started becoming so scholarly that they could move around different locations and defeat all the scholars. Eventually, Ram Krishna took shelter of Narottam Das Thakur and Hari Ram took shelter and initiation from Ramchandra Kaviraj. This Ram Krishna's youngest son was named Shri Krishna Charan Chakravarthy. Shri Krishna Charan Chakravarthy was the one who taught Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur different scriptures. So Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur learnt all the scriptures, Vyakaran and the depth in Sanskrit language from Shri Krishna Charan Chakravarthy. However, when Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur requested Shri Krishna Charan Chakravarthy for Diksha, Shri Krishna Charan Chakravarthy requested Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur to take Diksha from his own disciple by the name Radharaman Chakravarthy. So Shri Krishna Charan Chakravarthy's disciple was Radharaman Chakravarthy, and Radharaman Chakravarthy was the spiritual master of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. So in this way, Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur got initiated, and he was also related to Narottam Das Thakur. After initiation also, his scholarly expertise continued, and seeing his detachment, his father, Narayan Chakravarthy, became very concerned. So naturally, like a concerned father, he got his son Viswanath married to a very virtuous, very beautiful, chaste and aristocratic Brahmin girl by the name Vibha. But however, Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur's taste and attachment to Sri Krishna was so high that even after getting married, he remained renounced. He practiced the principles of bhakti even after initiation very wonderfully and came out as a very famous Sanskrit scholar. Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur wrote commentaries to so many books and lived and did bhajan in different parts of Vrindavan. He lived for some time at Govardhan, lived for some time in Vrindavan, some time in Yavat, and finally settled in Radhakund. In Radhakund, he made friends with Mukunda Das, who was a close associate of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. There was a very great soul by the name Shankarananda Prabhu, who gifted Mahaprabhu a Govardhan Shila. Mahaprabhu used to be so ecstatic seeing this Govardhan Shila because in that stone of Giriraj, he saw the threefold bending form of Shyam Sundar, the beautiful moon-like face of Sri Krishna. Mahaprabhu, in deep ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, used to sometimes rub that Govardhan Shila on the chest, sometimes on the forehead, sometimes on the eyes, and bathe the Shaligram Shila and the Govardhan Shila with the Abhishek of his tears. Mahaprabhu worshipped the Govardhan Shila for 2 years and then gifted the Govardhan Shila and the Gunjamala to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was so humbled by this gift because the gifting of Mahaprabhu, this Govardhan Shila to Raghunath Das Goswami, signified the gift of the place of Govardhan. Raghunath Das Goswami felt so blessed because it was as good as Mahaprabhu gifting the whole Govardhan hill to Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami also felt so humbled receiving the Gunjamala because that represented the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So Shankarananda Prabhu gave it to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu worshipped for 2 years and gave it to Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami, who lived for many years in Radhakund, gave these gifts to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, after many years of worship, gave it to his associate Mukunda Das. This Mukunda Das was approached by Krishna Priya. If we remember, Krishna Priya was the daughter of Vishnu Priya and Ganga Narayan Chakravarthy. And then finally, Krishna Priya, being a close associate of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, presented this to Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. Krishna Priya, when she came to Vrindavan, to Radhakund, she received the mercy of Mukunda Das by the following story. Mukunda Das, the associate of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, once had stomach disorder, and whatever he ate never got digested. Krishna Priya felt so compassionate and saw this as a wonderful serving opportunity. She made the best herbs possible, prepared a nice medicine, and gave it to Mukunda Das. And by taking that, with the proper diet, the food, the prasadam cooked by Krishna Priya, Mukunda Das was cured of his problem. In regard and in response to this, as a gift, he presented the Govardhan Shila and the Gunjamala to Krishna Priya, and Krishna Priya, being pleased by the scholarly endeavor and the devotional sentiments of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, presented them to Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. Therefore, we find how the gift that Shankarananda Prabhu gave Mahaprabhu as a gift from Mahaprabhu finally came to Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur's spiritual master, Srila Radharaman Chakravarthy, he instructed Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur to come back to Devagram. Why? Because he was not convinced that Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur is exalted enough to give up his family life and stay in Vrindavan. So he thought of putting him to a test. He instructed Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur to spend one whole night with his wife Vibha, who was waiting all through for him. Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, as we discussed, was married to Vibha as a child, but then because he was so renounced, there was no dealing between the two. Taking the instruction of his spiritual master on the top of his head, Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur decided to spend one whole night with Vibha. As the sun set, he entered the room and he sat next to Vibha on the same bed. But what was Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur going to do? As the moon rose and the night began, Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur picked up his Srimad Bhagavatam and gave a class all through the night, and Vibha was listening. And after all that reading and hearing, Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, along with his wife, chanted the holy name all through the night. And when it was dawn or sunrise, they stopped chanting. Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur got out of bed and went and told his spiritual master, "You ordered me to spend a night, I spent a night with my wife." Radharaman Chakravarthy asked Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, "What did you do with your wife?" Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur told him all that happened. Radharaman Chakravarthy wanted to see how renounced Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur is. The sexual impulse or the attachment to the opposite sex is the biggest impediment on the path of bhakti. Very difficult to overcome. So Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur told his spiritual master that I chanted all through the night and we read the Srimad Bhagavatam together. And Radharaman Chakravarthy smiled and was convinced that Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur has deep love and faith in the words of Sri Krishna. So he said, "Okay, no problem, I won't push you into your marriage. You may serve the words of Sri Krishna." So the first instruction that Radharaman Chakravarthy gave Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur was something very difficult. That was a time when there was no printing press, no Xerox or scan machines. And Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur was given this instruction of writing down all the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam manually on palm leaves. And Viswanath Chakravarthy took this as the greatest pleasurable service to his spiritual master. He used to sit out in the open and used to copy down from the work of his guru onto the palm leaves. And because of his absorption and how engrossed he was in his service, there was something very mystical that happened. During the hot summer, people saw that it was hot everywhere, but there was a cool shade on the top of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, who used to sit and write the Srimad Bhagavatam. When it was very cold, there was sun shining just on the top of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur to keep him warm. Also, there was a point when there was thunderstorm and it was showers and showers of rainfall, and not a single piece of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur's work got wet, because wherever Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur was writing, only that portion was completely protected and covered. There were many big people who saw this and they were astonished. And there was one big zamindar who saw this, and he surrendered his very life at the feet of Viswanath Chakravarthy because he understood his exalted position. Similarly, there was a great Brahmin by the name Jagannath. Therefore, he was called as Jagannath Vipra. He also surrendered as a disciple at the lotus feet of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. Who is this Jagannath Vipra? This Jagannath Vipra is the father of the great Narahari Chakravarthy, who is the celebrated author of scriptures like Bhakti Ratnakar and Narottam Vilas. So in this way, Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur fulfilled all the instructions of his spiritual master and acted as an ideal disciple. There was a point when the Gaudiya Vaishnavism, the Siddhanta, the Tattva Siddhanta, the conclusions of this Gaudiya Parampara was challenged. And Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur was very old and he was absorbed in his bhajan, so couldn't go and refute the argument. So he sent his stalwart disciple, Baladev Vidyabhushan, to go and protect the Siddhanta. The caste Brahmins claimed that the worship of Radha Krishna is not proper. The true worshipable lords for everyone are Lakshmi and Narayan, because they are properly married. And these caste Brahmins had a lot of problems in accepting Radha and Krishna as the divine couple. They never understood what Rasa Tattva meant, and they never understood what the love of Vrindavan, the Brajavasis, meant. So Baladev Vidyabhushan went to challenge and argue with them. But before that, the caste Brahmins said, we at least have an authentic commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. You don't even have one for yourself. First get a proper, authorized, bona fide, authentic commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, and then we will debate. So Baladev Vidyabhushan, the stalwart and humble disciple of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, didn't know what to do and didn't know how to fulfill this instruction of his guru and smash the counter argument. So he went in front of Govindji and he prayed in front of Govindji. He said, Govindji, you have to help me. I don't know how to protect the Siddhanta. And Govindji, being very pleased by the humble, heartfelt prayer of Baladev Vidyabhushan, he said, oh Baladev, don't worry. I will speak, I will dictate, and you simply write. So for 3 days, Govindji spoke continuously and gave his commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, and Baladev Vidyabhushan kept writing down as a very nice instrument. He who was supposed to name it as Baladeva Bhashya, as his own commentary, ended up naming it as Govinda Bhashya because it was the commentary of Govinda Dev. Now he took this commentary to the Brahmins and they read this commentary and said, now there is no need to even debate because these commentaries are so beautiful and so illuminating that we completely accept your Siddhanta. Baladev Vidyabhushan was very happy. He came back and told Govindji that because of your narration, because of your dictation, we won it. And therefore, O Govindji, from today, you won't be called as Radha Govinda, but from today you will be called as Radha Vijay Govinda, that Govinda who became victorious. In this way, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, by the mercy of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur and by the direct glance and narration of Govindji, he could protect the Gaudiya Vaishnav Tattva Siddhanta. So in this way, Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur empowered Baladev Vidyabhushan and became a stalwart guard to our parampara. Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur arrived in Vrindavan around roughly 150 years later, after Mahaprabhu came to Vrindavan. So the scene or the situation is as follows. Mahaprabhu was in Vrindavan. He restored a lot of places like Radha Kund and Sham Kund. And then he worked through the 6 Goswamis. Shri Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Shri Jiva Goswami. All these 6 Goswamis acted as empowered, compassionate instruments of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they did 4 principal work. They restored the pastime places in Vrindavan, they built temples, many temples. The 7 temples of Vrindavan are all Goswami temples. Third, they showed ideal Vaishnav behavior and culture through their conduct. And fourth and most importantly, they wrote scriptures and books on Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Then after their departure and the disappearance of all the 6 Goswamis, the disciples of Jiva Goswami continued this work. But sadly, after they disappeared, Samrat Aurangzeb, the famous king, he came to Vrindavan and he sent his soldiers to Vrindavan and created total havoc. In fact, the Radha Govindji temple initially had 7 stories or floors. So Aurangzeb broke down the top 4 stories and there are only 3 stories left for Radha Govindji. So in fear, constant fear, the devotees, they tried taking the deities, the 7 temples, the 7 deities, to Jaipur, some to Karoli. So all of them went to Rajasthan, like Radha Govindji, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Damodar, Radha Gopinath, etc. And all the Pratibha Murtis stayed in Vrindavan. Now there was so much of fear because even the Keshavji temple in Mathura were in tatters. The pujaris were scared for their life. Many of the devotees were murdered. The ornaments were stolen. And in this situation, Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur arrives in Vrindavan. It was such a pain in his heart. He felt as if there was a thunderbolt struck in the core of his heart. He saw the time when Mahaprabhu used to chant and dance and propagated the Harinam Sankirtan, and all of his associates like the 6 Goswamis worked extensively. The disciples of Jiva Goswami tirelessly put in so much of effort, and this Aurangzeb, being so atheistic and demoniac, was destroying Vrindavan. Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur promised or took a vow that he would stay in Vrindavan and restore the condition of Sri Vrindavan all by himself. And taking a step ahead, he started his missionary work of preaching and creating awareness. Being pleased by his endeavor, Sri Krishna sent the very scholarly and exalted Vaishnav devotee by the name Baladev Vidyabhushan from Orissa to Vrindavan to assist Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. And both these beautiful Vaishnavas, the teacher Viswanath Chakravarthy and the disciple Baladev Vidyabhushan, restored many of these places in Vrindavan. By their effort, Vrindavan was showing its true color back again. Hearing the fearless preaching of Baladev Vidyabhushan, who was the leading disciple of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, the caste Brahmins became so envious of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur that they planned to kill him. In fact, ministers and chief ministers were sent with all their soldiers to kill Viswanath and Baladev Vidyabhushan. But Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur was such a surrendered devotee, he never feared anything. A pure devotee never fears anything because he's completely secured by the protection of Sri Krishna. The only thing a pure devotee fears is forgetfulness of Krishna. So Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, even in his old age, was completely surrendered to Sri Krishna and he was absorbed in chanting the holy names. So these people came with all their weapons to kill Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, and Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, to protect his body, ran into a garden. Now these ministers also followed him and ran into the garden to see where Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur went. And when they went to the garden, they just saw a young tender girl picking flowers and putting into her basket. So these ministers asked the girl, "Did you see an old man run through by the name Viswanath Chakravarthy?" So the girl said, "I just saw somebody run this way." And seeing that, all the ministers and all the soldiers ran to that way. And after they went, this girl transformed herself into Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. So what happened? Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur in the spiritual world is a Manjari. Manjaris are tender maidservants to or the assistants of Srimati Radharani. So Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, to protect his body, the body in which he did his bhajan, he swapped himself into his true identity of being a maidservant of Shri Radha and Krishna, and stood there like a tender girl, picking flowers for the divine couple. So in this way we understand great souls reveal their identity as eternal servants of Shri Krishna, Krishna explains that we are his eternal part and parcels, but that is just theoretical knowledge for us in the conditioned state. When we become pure devotees, we realize and we are established in the Sambandha Gyan. And in this story we understand how Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, not just theoretically, but practically and experientially showed to the world he had realized his eternal form as a maidservant of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. One day Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur was meditating on the Kama Gayatri mantra, the mantra to please Srimati Radharani. He had read everywhere that this Kama Gayatri mantra is composed of 25 syllables. But it was only Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami who stated in his work that this Kama Gayatri mantra is composed of 24 and a half syllables. Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur was perplexed. Why is it that everywhere it is described with 25 syllables and a stalwart, self-realized Acharya like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is stating that it has 24 and a half syllables? What is the reason for all this? Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur knew that every syllable in the Kama Gayatri mantra represented a moon in Krishna's body. Like the different limbs of Krishna's body and the different organs in Krishna's body are all compared to the moon. So if there are 25 moons in Krishna's body, like all the acharyas describe, why is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami saying 24 and a half? And what happened to the half? He was perplexed. He never got an answer to this. So therefore, he decided to fast unto death on the banks of Radha Kund. After his intense tapasya, one day Srimati Radharani revealed the truth to Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur in his dream. He said, "Oh Viswanath, don't worry. This Kama Gayatri mantra is my mantra. I will tell you a secret why Kaviraj Goswami calls it 24 and a half syllables. According to the rules of Sanskrit and Bhav, two syllables, when they come together, two particular syllables in the Kama Gayatri mantra, they aren't considered to be the whole, but are considered as a half syllable. And also, Krishna's forehead is compared to a half crescent moon. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has wonderfully clubbed those two syllables together, and instead of calling 25, he has named that as 24 and a half. The half representing the half crescent moon of Krishna's forehead. Oh Vishwanath, don't worry, this is my mantra and this is the secret." When Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur woke up, he saw the Sakshad Swarup Darshan of Srimati Radharani, and all his problems and doubts were dispelled. In reply to this, he wrote a book called as Mantra Artha Deepika, where mantra means the divine chant, artha means the meaning, and Deepika means a lamp. So he wrote a book illuminating the true meaning of the Kama Gayatri mantra. Radharaman Chakravarthy now instructed Viswanath Chakravarthy to go back to Vrindavan and continue his preaching endeavors. One night when Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur was fast asleep in Vrindavan, he had a very beautiful dream. But then when he woke up, that dream transformed into a reality. At the door, there was a brahmachari who was waiting, and this brahmachari presented Gokulananda deities to Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur told the brahmachari in a very humble, menial mood that you're a brahmachari. I'm not as renounced as you are. I am not qualified. I'm not worthy to worship Gokulananda. That brahmachari said, "No, these deities belong to you." Radha Gokulananda appeared in my dream and said, "Kindly go and present the deities to Viswanath. We want to be worshipped by Viswanath." So Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur refused, and he said, "You are exalted. You saw them in your dream. You're a brahmachari. You're so renounced. You have no material attachments. I'm not as fortunate as you are. Therefore, O brahmachari, I'm not qualified. Please take the deities with you and continue your service." So the brahmachari agreed to Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur's instruction and left with Radha Gokulananda. That night in the dream, Radha Gokulananda appeared in both their dreams. He appeared in the dream of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur and said, "The brahmachari came and presented us to you, but you didn't accept. This time again we will send him, but kindly accept. Kindly accept us as a gift from the brahmachari, install us and continue worshipping us in Vrindavan." In the dream of the brahmachari, Radha Gokulananda appeared and said, "Vishwanath might have refused yesterday, but today we appeared in his dream and convinced him, so kindly take us to him once again." So at the end of that night, and when the sun rose, Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur woke up, and again at the doorstep there was this brahmachari, and both could connect their dreams and understood that this is the plan of Radha Gokulananda. Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, with a very grateful heart, accepted Radha Gokulananda as the will of the Lord from the brahmachari, installed them in Vrindavan, and continued his service of serving them in Sri Vrindavan. There was a personality by the name Roop Kaviraj who came to Vrindavan to study under Mukunda Das. Roop Kaviraj was also a disciple of Krishna Charan Chakravarthy and a god brother of Radharaman Chakravarthy, who was Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur's Diksha Guru. Roop Kaviraj, after learning from Mukunda Das the scriptures and the Vedic conclusions, was one day sitting on the Vyasasana and giving class, and the young Krishna Priya, the daughter of Ganganarayan Chakravarthy, was sitting on the audience. Because of her deep attachment to the chanting of the holy names, she was listening to the class and chanting Harinam, and this provoked Roop Kaviraj. Roop Kaviraj told Krishna Priya, "How is it possible that you're hearing with your ear and chanting with your mouth? This is not possible. Both of this simultaneously is not possible, which means you're not giving enough attention to my class. This is disrespectful and this is inattention." Krishna Priya took a very humble position and told Roop Kaviraj, "How do I solve this problem? My tongue doesn't stop chanting the holy names. It is constantly chanting. I'm trying to stop and listen to your class, but I'm listening with my ear, and my lips and my tongue still continuously move and dance to the chanting of the holy names." Roop Kaviraj felt that she's posing an argument, and he criticized her. She was offended in front of everyone by Roop Kaviraj. This is the nature of pride. When we get proud, we get puffed up, we are not aware of what we are doing. And Vaishnava Aparad is the greatest pitfall in the life of one's bhakti, life of any devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says Vaishnava Aparad is Hatim Aparad, or it's like a mad elephant getting into the garden of our consciousness. Bhakti is like a creeper in our heart, which is growing in this garden, and if you let a mad elephant inside, it's just going to uproot. Because of this sin or this aparat, Roop Kaviraj became a deviant. He rejected Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he offended his guru, and used to give classes distorting the meaning of the Shastras. Krishna says, "Yaha Shastra Vidhi Mutsrujya Vartate Kamakaratah Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatin." That if you deviate from the conclusions of the scriptures or you distort the essence of the scriptures, you will never be happy. And this Roop Kaviraj became a hypocrite. He offended Vaishnavas and he distorted the Shastras, and eventually went back to Gaurdesh, surrendered to his guru in a hypocritic way. After giving up his body, he became a ghost, and he used to haunt in the bodies of all those devotees who offend Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas are supposed to be served and not offended. The Chaitanya Charitamrita says, "Vaishnav pada dhuli, Vaishnav pada jal, Vaishnava uchishte tini mahabal." That the dust of the lotus feet of Vaishnavas, the Charanamrit of Vaishnavas, and the remnants, food remnants of the Vaishnavas are equally worshipable and very powerful. Therefore, please avoid Vaishnava Aparad and serve the Vaishnavas as much as possible. Rupa Goswami's works were explained further by the exalted scholarly nature of Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Jiva Goswami gave the proper Siddhanta and explanation to all of Rupa Goswami's conclusions. But coming down in the line, it was Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur who gave the Rasa Tattva, who gave the transcendental mellow interpretation and explanations to all the Goswami literatures. Some books of Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur that are very popular are the commentaries to the Bhagavad Gita, called as Sarartha Varshini Tika, the commentaries to the Srimad Bhagavatam, called as the Sarartha Darshini Tika, the commentaries to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, called as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, and also commentaries to Rupa Goswami's Ujjvala Neelamani. Also the popular songs that we sing every morning, called as Guruvashtakam, or the Samsara Davanala prayers, the Mangalarti prayers, are also written by Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. So wonderful that every morning we sing his work, but most of us won't know that that was composed by Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. Being an eternal associate of Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur could explain the same point from different angles of vision. I would like to state one example in this regard. In the famous story of Krishna lifting Govardhan hill, Indra blasphemed Krishna by the following words: Vachalam balisham stabdam ajna panditamanina. He said, Vachalam, Krishna is too talkative. Balisham, he's childish. Stabdam, he is too arrogant. He doesn't bow down before anyone. Ajna, he's foolish. Panditamanina, still considers himself to be a great Pandit. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur completely switches this onto the other side and explains every word in a devotional fashion. He says, the words of Indra were got down by Goddess Saraswati to the lotus feet of Krishna as follows. Vachalam, O Krishna, there's nobody who can speak as sweetly as you do. Balisham, although you're the Supreme Personality, you appear in a beautiful childlike form. Stabdam, it's not that you don't bow down before anyone, you don't have to bow down before anyone because you're the Supreme Personality. Agya, O Krishna, there's nothing that you don't know. Pandita Manina, and these are the conclusions of the great Pandits. So we see in this example how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur, by the depth of his scholarly study and the depth of his devotion on Bhakti Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Guru Tattva and Bhagavad Tattva, can explain the same principle and the same shloka through different visions of Bhakti. Even in his ripe old age, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur had a strong sadhana. How attached he was to the chanting of the holy names. There's one thing that nobody knows why, but this is a reality. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur, during the fag end of his life, used to sign all his works by the name Hari Vallabha. Nobody knows why. In fact, he was such a wonderful devotee and scholar that in the last verses of the Bhagavad Gita, the 18th chapter, he wrote the commentary, but it happened so that there was a rat which ate all his work. So he never wrote it again. And the last verses of the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita are missing in his commentary. And when he was asked, he said, Lord Ganesha doesn't want me to write commentary to those. Therefore his Vahan came and ate all of that away. We would write it again thinking, oh, a foolish rat came and spoilt all my work. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur, being an empowered, enlightened associate of the Lord, could always see things in the higher vision. He saw this as the plan of Lord Ganesha, who is the demigod of learning. So in this way, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur was very surrendered to Krishna. And finally, in the Panchami Tithi of the Magh Mas, he left this world. He was being served by Jagannath Vipra, his personal servant, who could not bear the separation from Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur. And in the same month, towards the end, he also left this world, being burnt by the fire of the separation. Finally, in the dream of Jagannath Vipra's son, Narahari Chakravarthy, both these great personalities appeared. Jagannath Vipra and Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur, they appeared in the dream and instructed Narahari Chakravarthy, see, your father and your spiritual master both have disappeared, but we will empower you and you will continue to preach this Gaudiya Vaishnava line. And Narahari Chakravarthy wrote great books like Bhakti Ratnakar, Narottam Vilas, to take this torchlight of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur forward. In this way we find how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur was such a wonderful acharya, such a wonderful example for all of us to follow. He was so very intelligent, but as the saying goes, Vidya Vinayena Shobhate, that the true ornament of learning is humility. And Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur was humble. He was a humble servant to his Guru and was an empowered associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur ki jai. There are different limbs of bhakti, and all these Navadha bhakti, or the 9 processes of bhakti, start with the process of hearing. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So the path of remembrance starts by hearing. We have the very famous incidents of Rukmini falling in love with Sri Krishna simply by hearing. So Srila Prabhupada said, you don't have to see Krishna through your eyes, you have to see Krishna through your ears. When we give our ears for humble oral reception to the pastimes of Sri Krishna and also to the pastimes of the great souls who are surrendered to Krishna, our heart get purified. The Bhagavatam describes in the first canto, 177, Bhagavat describes, Yasyam vai shrunumanayam Krishne paramapurushe bhaktir utpadhyate pumsam shoka moha bhayapaha. Simply by hearing the pastimes of Sri Krishna and great souls, what happens is that illusion, fear, lamentation, hankering, material attachment are all destroyed, and bhakti is nourished in the heart. This is also confirmed in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10:12:43. Maharaj Parikshit tells Shukadev Goswami, Vayam dhanyatama loke guropi kshatra bandhava Vayam piba muhutvatta punyam Krishna kathamritam. Says that I consider myself to be the most fortunate. Imagine, Maharaj Parikshit is almost on the deathbed, is almost on the verge of leaving his body, but still he considers himself to be the most fortunate because he could hear the pastimes of Sri Krishna and also the pastimes of great souls in the Bhagavatam like Narada, Vyasa and Maharaj Ambarish. In this way we must hear attentively every day. This is also confirmed in the prayer that we chant every morning before Bhagavatam. Nashtha prayeshu abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam and also about hearing about the Mahabhagavat personalities who are living their life on the principles of the Bhagavatam, what happens? Bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Bhakti in our heart becomes very established and firmly fixed, and all the impurities are destroyed. With this aim in mind, we are presenting a series of videos on the life of Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur, hearing about whom, speaking about whom, and remembering whose life and pastimes we all attempt to be purified and be attached at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Please watch them, please share them, and practice bhakti. Hare Krishna.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
सेवायै जीवन अपि.
Hare Krishna. Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Amarendra Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna. So, thank you all for joining. So, His Grace Sankarsana Prabhu has wonderfully selected this wonderful lecture by series of lectures compiled by His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. Thank you, Sankarsana Prabhu. So, also Sankarsana Prabhu messaged me that today is a very, very auspicious day. I know somebody in the outside will be thinking, what is auspiciousness today? But this is what he said is today is Pundarika Vidyanidhi's appearance day. Srila Raghunandan Thakura's appearance day. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami appearance day. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur's appearance day. Srimati Vishnupriya Devi's appearance day. Saraswati Puja and Vasanta Panchami. This is what been told today. So, of course, when you go, we can see today so many other things happening, but we practice devotees, we can understand how glorious today's day is. That now any devotees want to give any comments or realization on about Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I shared the DT pictures of Radha, Shri Radha Gokulanam. If it is possible, can you share it with the devotees while others are speaking? So we can have
Sorry,
darshan of
Prabhu?
the lunch. I shared the DT photos of Shri Radha Gokulanam DTs, Vrindavan Dham. So if it is possible, if you can share, all of us can have darshan.
You shared in same image or separately?
Yeah, WhatsApp.
Along with the various days, how is that one? Or
You can just open it and share it. Let's check. Maybe while others are offering their comments or reflections, you can try to. If you are not able to open, that's fine.
no, I'm just trying to understand. You shared in the picture, right? The along with the different days.
Yes,
separately?
I shared the picture of Radha. Yes.
I didn't see that, Prabhu. In the 1 second, I'll share that.
Meanwhile, other devotees can please share your reflections or comments while
Is
Prabhuji
this?
is trying to share. One more, there is one more message.
No, that's not come to me. Okay. No, it's good. Sorry.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, wonderful lecture on Vasanta Panchami Day. And as Amarendra Prabhu said, Shravanam is important. And that's how you see Krishna through years. Thank you for the wonderful lecture sharing, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Is
Hare
this
Krishna
one?
Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. Thanks for the wonderful lecture.
Dandavat, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Wonderful class.
Radha Gopal.
With that, actually, we can really appreciate more our acharyas and the parampara that we are in. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Prabhuji, I was reading about Srila Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. I also read that he is incarnation of Rupa Goswami. And also, I think Prabhuji mentioned that he is also Rupa Manjari. But I just want to check Prabhuji that the other part is actually reincarnation of Rupa Goswami.
Yeah, Prabhu said he is a Manjari.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful class here. Very, very nice. Prabhu, can we know where Sri Radha Gokulanandana is actually there? Where is it? I mean, the deities in which temple in Vrindavan?
There, Keshi got Prabhuji. That's what I read in the article.
Okay. Not as part of the Goswami temples?
Sorry, Prabhuji, can you repeat?
Is it in one of the Goswami temples in Vrindavan?
Yes, Prabhuji, when we go with our devotees, typically they take us to this Radha Sri Radha Gokulanand temple also, Prabhuji.
Okay.
When I went with our Matrasham Prabhu, they took us to this temple as well.
Okay.
But I think it is not a part of 7 temples of Goswamis, no, Prabhu?
I am not sure, Mataji.
Yeah, one more important point for Srila Prabhupada's, Anuga's or all ISKCON devotees. So how nicely Amarendra Prabhu said, how Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur has inspired Srila Prabhupada to, establish ISKCON. Of course, blessings of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur.
And actually, in fact, in Sri Prabhupada's purpose, he takes a lot of comments from the purpose of Sri Chakravarthy Thakur. He makes so many references of him in many of the slokas, I mean, everywhere actually.
Yeah. True.
But thanks again, Prabhu, for actually this wonderful class as well as to connect us with the link, because it gives a lot of more in-depth understanding of Acharya. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
I think what I understand, Prabhuji, is such a powerful, exalted Acharya. He himself has written commentary on all the scriptures. In addition to that, His Holiness Baldev Vidya Bhushan also is disciple of Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. Amazing. I think we got the lineage of this Guru Parampara strengthened through Viswanath Chakravarthy Thakur. I didn't know all these details until I listened to the class.
And really amazing how Amarendra Prabhu is narrating one by one as if he has by hearted everything, so nicely is narrating. It's really wonderful, Prabhu.
And also he connected with other acharyas whose appearance or disappearance day also today. That's
True.
amazing.
Yeah.
Another Shruti
So,
there.
okay. So if no other comments, then we can end.
Prabhuji, can you zoom the picture? Okay, okay.
Oh,
I just wanted to ask whether you can zoom the picture a little bit so that it is, much more clearly visible. That's okay, Prabhuji. You ended the session.
how do I zoom it? It's going to. Okay. Anyway, so we'll
Okay, no problem.
end the session with the Vaishnava Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyavach patitanavyo Vaishnavebhyo namo. Srila Viswanath Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Amarendra Prabhu ki jai.
Dandavad Pranam Prabhu.
Island. Hare Krishna.